Braves have won 32 of the last 44 World Series games. The Cleveland Indians have just destroyed people here in this ballpark, regular season and postseason, 4 out of 5. And maybe they're hoping a change in costumes from the road uniforms to the home will set them on the right track tonight as they try to get back into this series in Game 3. Hi again, everybody. Bob Costas, Joe Morgan, Bob Uecker. One's a Hall of Famer. The other is simply Mr. Baseball. Let's talk pitching. Charles Nagy won 16 this year in the regular season. He was terrific, dueling on even terms in Game 3 of the League Championship Series against Randy Johnson. He has now had 10 days between starts.
Yeah, that might affect him, Bob. 16-6 during the regular season. But the one thing about Nagy with this Indian ball club, they scored almost 7 runs per start for him this year. The Braves tonight will see fastballs, sinkers. They'll see a slur, kind of a curveball slider, and he's got a very good splitter and loves to pitch breaking stuff when he's behind.
Now on to John Smoltz, who will start tonight for the Atlanta Braves. He's 5-1 lifetime in postseason. In the World Series, his ERA is under 2. This is a guy who has been a good pitcher in the regular season, an exceptional pitcher in the postseason. Why?
Well, I think he's been better in the postseason because he is aggressive. He goes after the hitters. He's a power pitcher, which means he has more margin for error. The first 2 pitchers, Maddox and Glavine, they had to have their control. They had to change speeds. This guy will come after you with a fastball, which is a very good fastball, but he has an excellent slider. The slider will be the key to his success, not how well his control is. He doesn't throw for the corners.
Watch these 2 guys tonight, because in all likelihood, if this thing goes 7, Nagy and Smoltz will be on the mound for Game 7 on Sunday night in Atlanta. You know, the Atlanta Braves were down 0-2 in 1991, the first of the 2 World Series they played in. In this decade, they lost the first 2 games at the Metrodome. They came home and won 3 in a row to take the lead in the series, and although they lost it, both the 6th and 7th games in Minnesota were very close and up for grabs. They are well aware that this thing is far from over. And now here come the Cleveland Indians. Tonight's Budweiser Atlanta Braves starting lineup. Marquise Grissom at the top. Luis Polonia will play left field. A .375 career hitter against Charles Nagy. Chipper Jones at third base. McGriff, the game 1 homer off Hershiser, the cleanup man and first baseman. David Justice in right. Ryan Klesko from the outfield to DH. Javi Lopez, the hero, at least one of them, of Game 2, will catch again. Mark Lemke drops from 2nd to 8th in the order. And with the DH, the pitcher not hitting, Rafael Belliard, a very weak hitter, but an excellent defensive shortstop, will bat 9th. In his career, when Charles Nagy has pitched on exactly 4 days rest, which would be the normal rotation, he's 23-28, and his ERA is over 4. When he has had more than 4 days rest, he's 31-14. His ERA 3.5. Now, I don't know if this fits in, because this is so much more that there's probably no history that corresponds to it. 10 days rest.
Well, you know, in talking with Nagy prior to his start tonight, if there was a more relaxed player in this ballpark, I don't know who it is. And here's a guy, as I said at the top of the telecast, Bob, he's going to indicate to you early in the game if he's right, because he loves to throw breaking stuff when he's behind. As I said, he's got a very good splitter, and normally this guy's control is pretty good. He's not overpowering by any means.
Here's the defense behind him. Tommy, Vizquel, Baerga, and now Sorrento for the first time other than pinch hitting in this series. With the DH back in place, Murray handles those duties. Alomar will catch. Albert Bell, who has looked about as uncomfortable in left field as Milli Vanilli at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's already made 4 postseason errors out there. He has simply been terrible. 4 outfield errors is already the record for postseason. Lofton in center is a Gold Glover. Ramirez in right has a strong arm, but often no idea what he's doing out there. And we saw both aspects of his game in Atlanta. Grissom to the plate. He hit a career-low 258, bothered by a heel injury much of the year, but came on down the stretch to hit 300 in September, and now 383 in the postseason. He's hit safely in all 10 postseason games for Atlanta. A called strike. All around this park, as the first pitch was delivered, flash bulbs popping. Alomar the side and Nagy the pitch. Ball one, says the plate ump Bruce Fremming from the National League. John Hirschbeck of the Americans at first. Frank Pulley, National League, at second. Joe Brinkman, American League, at third. Grissom slaps one to center. Lofton's right there.
Just watching the first three pitches, it seems to me that Nagy's going to stay away, and his main concern will be to stay down, and he did that very well against Grissom there.
To complete the umpires on the left field line, Harry Wendelstedt of the National League, Jim McKean of the American League in right. Polonia. Down and in a ball. Tomey is in close at third.
Bob, and looking at the Indians outfield against Polonia, Lofton and Bell shading to hit that way. There's a major gap in right center between Lofton and Ramirez. I mean, they're trying to pitch him that way, make him go that way, the other way, towards left. And he'll do that.
Two-one pitch. Baerga with a chest high, and Polonia's gone. Now Chipper Jones, 265 for the year with 23 homers. 390, as you see, though, in the postseason. There's that slurve for strike one.
It's not a major curveball from Nagy. It's a half slider, half curveball. And as you called it, Bob, that's exactly what he calls it, a slurve.
Left center field, Lofton and Bell in pursuit. One bounce against the wall. Chipper Jones, who doubled in the first in Atlanta in game 2, does the same here.
That's interesting there with Nagy. He comes back with a fastball, and it looks like he may want to throw the fastball when he's ahead in the count and the breaking ball when he's behind. This fastball is pretty much in the middle of the plate, and Chipper Jones just rifles it up the gap in the left center field. You cannot get the ball up on Chipper or he'll hurt you.
And again, we see Jones' willingness and ability to take the ball the opposite way.
All the left-handed hitters in this lineup will do that.
McGriff is only hit at 7 at-bats in the series. Was his home run off Hershiser in game 1. Wind blowing out toward right. It'll be a factor. Gave him the splitter there. And watch it again.
This is the splitter that we talked about with Nagy. Watch where this ball drops out of the strike zone. Way down low on McGriff. And he's got a good one.
Jones is second, 2 down. And McGriff lines one toward the right field corner. Ramirez won't get it. Jones is going to score. The Braves are on the board. McGriff will stop at first. With 2 down, a double by Jones and an RBI single from McGriff. And the Braves, leading the series 2-0, lead this game 1-0.
Well, 2 fastballs from Nagy, and both of them have been hit for base hits. He tried to come inside, and again, this ball is up a little bit, and McGriff hits it down the right field line. You see they had him shaded toward right center field. But if Nagy's going to throw the fastball to these hitters, he has to stay down. He stayed down with Grissom and Polonia.
Justice taking strike one. 2 for 3 in game 2, plus an RBI, an encouraging sign for him. Here's a .273 career hitter who has hit just .228 in 42 postseason games in this decade. Outside.
And as Joe suggested, if Nagy is going to have problems tonight, it's going to be with pitches that were hit by Jones and McGriff. Upstairs fastballs. He doesn't throw that hard. He can't throw hard enough to get it by. He's got to be down with a sinker low and away.
Center field, left center actually. Vizquel goes back. Bell comes in. Watch for the collision. They avoid it, and Vizquel definitely would have been the loser if those two had met with any sort of force.
Well, normally the outfielder has the right of way, but you can see Vizquel was stationed under that ball.
By the miracle of tape, here are all the flash bulbs popping around the ballpark as Nagy delivered the first pitch to Grissom in this ball game. Keepsakes for many of the 43,000 plus here. And now tonight's Budweiser Cleveland Indians starting lineup. Lofton, Vizquel, Baerga, Murray back in the DH spot. Thome hits 6th. Ramirez in right 7th. Sorrento 8th. And Alomar 9th. When your 9th hitter bats .300 with 10 home runs, it's a formidable lineup. In fact, Joe, a lot of people have said this is the best lineup since your Big Red Machine of the 70s. What do you think?
Well, I don't like to compare eras because the game is so different now. But I will say one thing: the Big Red Machine that I played on had a little more speed than this ball club does.
Now Smoltz. 2 no decisions so far in the postseason. A bad start, his worst postseason outing ever in the division series against Colorado. A good performance, but a no decision against Cincinnati. In the World Series, this is his 5th start. He's 1-0 overall. He won game 5 in '92 against the Blue Jays. But in those other no decisions, he's pitched extremely well, including dueling Jack Morris in game 7 in 1991 at the Metrodome. He got into the 8th. Morris went all the way, and as you know, the Braves lost 1-0 in the 10th. But this is a young man who is unafraid of the pressure of postseason.
Well, the one thing about Smoltz is if he keeps the slider down, and he'll give you that indication early whether he has it tonight or not. And if he keeps it down, he can pitch just as good a ball game as Maddox did.
The Indians have only 8 hits through the first 2 games. Lofton has 2 of them. Hit .310 for the year, and the postseason average also over 300. Jones in at 3rd, and a ball outside and high.
You know, in being in both clubhouses tonight, the Braves were the much more relaxed. There seemed to be a lot of tension in the Indians clubhouse. I mean, I know they're down 2-0. And on the other side, Joe, as they were in Atlanta, Braves a lot more relaxed, easy going.
Bobby Cox, who says he still can't bring himself to watch the tapes of those World Series defeats against the Twins and the Blue Jays. He says, I have them all. They're all on the shelf. They're all cataloged. I've never queued them up yet.
Jimmy Williams there telling Chipper Jones to drop back at 3rd now with 2 strikes on Lofton.
Punch toward the middle, a base hit. And this 1995 World Series game is brought to you by Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. Cotton Incorporated, cotton, the fabric of our lives, and Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. He's stolen 4 bases already in the World Series. He swiped 9 without being caught in the postseason. Vizquel shows bunt, takes a strike. Jeff Newman, the coach, at third. Jones in on the grass at third defensively. Vizquel, a very good bunter.
The thing that impresses me about Lofton is that he likes center stage. He wants to be the guy that everything is focused on. He likes the pressure of this World Series, and he wants to perform.
Not going inside. And Lofton is well aware of the propensity of Javi Lopez to throw down to first base.
You know, in that game in Atlanta, game 2 in the series, Lopez made a couple of throws to second, but they were one-hoppers. But when he had to come up with a good one, he did on Ramirez to pick him off.
You said the other night, Joe, you're more impressed by Lofton, the base runner, than the base stealer, although he has led the league 4 straight years.
Well, my opinion of a base stealer is a guy that can steal a base when everybody in the ballpark knows he's going, and he picks a right pitch to go on. I don't think he's progressed to that point yet.
Not going, and a drive toward the right field corner. Big trouble if it's fair, which it is. Lofton loses his helmet as he speeds around third. Vizquel wants a triple as Lofton scores, and Omar is in there. Hitting just .116 in the postseason. Vizquel comes through with a triple, and just like that, the game's tied.
Well, he's got a little power to ride. If you make a mistake on him, he'll go that way. And he did.
But I think Lofton caused that by getting all fastballs for Vizquel.
High to Baerga. I was just about to say, sometimes the Loftons, the Hendersons, the Wills, the Brocks, they don't have to steal to have an impact.
That's why a stolen base guy is so important to a ball club. He causes a lot of things to happen. And he got all fastballs for Vizquel, and he set on one and drove it down the right field line.
Hit toward first. McGriff's going to take it, but Vizquel is going to score, and it's 2-1. Baerga with an RBI ground out. I don't know if you folks at home are experiencing the din which is apparent to us as Bell steps in and takes high, but this is approaching the Kingdome level in terms of noise.
Yeah, it was a different story in Atlanta, despite the fact that the Braves won 2 there. The crowd noise was rather subdued in difference to here and Seattle for sure. You know, in looking at Schmaltz here in the opening inning, Joe, I mean, if this is his best fastball that we're seeing tonight, he may be in some trouble with guys like Vizquel pulling him the way he did, and Baerga hitting that sharp ground ball to McGriff.
Well, his out pitch again is that slider, so
the 2-0 to Bell. Jones to his left, throws on the run and gets him.
But you see, he can throw you a fastball 2-0 because he has good movement on it. Well, as a fastball on a 2-0 count, he's not afraid to throw it, but see, he had good movement on it, so he hits a ground ball to third base. And if you can throw Bell a 2-0 fastball and he doesn't do anything with it, your confidence gains as well.
So Bell still can't break out of it. Eddie Murray had a Game 2 homer off Glavine, his third of this postseason. Many of the fans here remember it. The players don't, but they're mindful of it. The great Cleveland Indians team of 1954 went on the road, lost the first 2 of the series at the Polo Grounds to the Giants, came home to be swept. Here's Lemke. That'll do it in the bottom of the first. But the Indians strike back with 2 and lead it 2-1. Back at Jacobs Field, the Atlanta Braves, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. There is acting Commissioner Bud Selig, along with NBC Sports President Dick Ebersol, whose wardrobe apparently doesn't present much of a personal expense. And you know a guy's the interim commissioner when he feels he has to wear his credential around his neck, otherwise they might boot him from his box seat.
Oh, you're getting a call already, buddy. You're getting a call already. You did it again.
Either that or it was Jerry Reinsdorf on the phone.
What did we say? What happened?
Top of the third. And the bottom of the order, Rafael Belliard. That 136 doesn't really represent a slump. He is all glove and no bat, and has been his whole career. 1-1. Now, you've got an interesting theory, Joe, about what a batting average means, really. Go ahead with it.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It is an average, and a lot of people wonder why the Cleveland Indians could hit so well during the season and then struggle once the playoffs start. Well, during the season, you have 7-game spans where you will hit over 400 as a team, and then the next week you may hit 200. That averages out to 300.
And Belliard will take a seat. Nagy's first strikeout. So your point being, even the best hitters don't hit 300 against the Sandy Koufaxes or the Greg Maddoxes. They hit 400 against the chumps and try and hang in there against the best.
That's exactly right. And in fact, Willie Mays told me as a rookie, he said you fight off the good pitchers and beat up on the bad pitchers, and that's exactly what the Cleveland Indians do during the season. But now they're facing a lot of good pitchers, so they're struggling a little bit.
Grissom lined to Lofton in center his first time up to start the game. The Indians' team batting average of .291, the highest in the major league since the 1950 Red Sox. 125 before this game in the World Series.
And remember, over the course of a whole season, a 300 hitter will average out to 300. They will average out to 290. But in 5 or 6 ball games during the year, they will always struggle, and that's what they're doing here now.
Nagy gets ahead of Grissom, 1-2.
And the other thing, you're seeing the same pitchers, you know, during the course of a season, Joe, and you've seen them year after year after year. And you know, basically what you're going to get from these guys is you look at Javi Lopez in the Braves dugout. A little tape job.
Grissom swung at a bad pitch out of the strike zone. And Nagy has fanned the first 2 in the third.
Here it is again. This is a split-fingered fastball from Nagy, and the bottom falls out of this baby. He's got a good one. We said it at the top of the telecast. Here it is again. The cut by Grissom on a pitch way out of the strike zone. It's a fastball until it gets out in front of you about 3 or 4 feet, and all of a sudden the bottom falls out of it.
Polonia bloops one into shallow left. Albert Bell coming on to make the catch. A very quick third, and it remains 2-1 Indians. You know, when Ditka says that, it's not an invitation, it's a command. This, folks, as you all know, would be the shot from the Goodyear blimp, the Spirit of Akron. And the captain's real name is Patrick Henry. Big roar for Lofton. He'll lead off in the bottom of the third. He singled and scored on Vizquel's triple his first time up. John Smoltz on the mound for the Braves was just 6-10 last year, 12-7 this year. The 6-10 mark very atypical, generally a consistent 14-15 game winner. He's 28 years old, 10 days younger than his opposite number tonight, Charles Nagy, each born in May of '67. Lofton with a drive into right center field, and that ball will bounce at the base of the wall, and he's going to stop with a double. The wind really helped that. That ball was hit well, but not that well. It got into that jet stream and zoomed.
And remember one thing, this is a small ballpark, especially in the gaps. High fastball up and in. He really kind of shortens his arms just to get to it. Watch how he pulls his arms in just to get to it. And he drives it to right field. Justice gave chase, couldn't do anything with it, but they do hold him to a double, which is quite an accomplishment when Clean Lofton finds the gap.
Nice play by Marquise Grissom backing up the play, though. That ball hopping off the wall and over the head of Justice, and Grissom right behind him to hold Lofton to the double.
In one pitch, though, he could turn it into a triple. Not going, Vizquel bunts. A terrific bunt if it stays fair, which it does. Runners at the corners with nobody out. That ball got on the dirt between the line and the infield grass and just hugged it.
But again, I'm going to give Lofton the credit. He makes things happen. He gets on base. He puts pressure on the defense. And Vizquel takes advantage of it.
Now the ground crew here put pressure on the defense on that one. That infield, Joe, as you've seen in a lot of parks, on the lines, slanted in a little bit toward the grass part. And balls like that, bunted that, like Vizquel did right there, they'll stay inside. They'll stay fair. You have a tendency to give up sometimes and hoping it'll go foul. And it stays fair.
Baerga, an RBI ground out his first time up. Infield looks for the double play. And strike one swinging.
I'm watching something I don't quite understand. The way that the middle infielders are playing with Baerga up. Lemke is playing almost straight away at second base, giving him the entire right side of the infield to hit against. Now watch Lemke. He will move closer to second base. Look at that. Look at the entire right side of the infield for Baerga to shoot at. And he can pull the ball.
Hargrove called what he said was just his 5th or 6th team meeting of the entire season before tonight's game. Try to settle his ball club a little bit. Low 1-1.
And when we talked to him before the game, Bob, and asked him if he had anything planned for the meeting, he said, no, not really. He said when you start writing speeches, they become kind of plastic when you walk in there to talk to the players.
Pitch, line to left, coming on Polonia, can't get it, tried to short hop it, Lofton scores. Vizquel stops at second, another RBI for Baerga, 3-1 Cleveland.
Here's that last base hit by Baerga. It's the 5th in the game for the Indians. They had 8 in the 2-game series in Atlanta, and they already have 5 here tonight. And Lee Mazzoni out to talk with right-hander John Smoltz. Kenny Lofton scores again, his 2nd tonight.
A lot of people felt, Joe, that these Cleveland Indians would prefer a pitcher who comes right at you, like Smoltz, as good as he is, prefer that to the cute guys, the finesse pitchers like Maddox and Glavine.
Well, it's always easier as a hitter to get a better perspective on a guy that just comes at you with all hard stuff. But when Glavine's slider is working, that's really a 3rd pitch rather than just a hard fastball and a slider.
2 on, still nobody out, and here's Bell. Strike one, says Bruce Fleming.
You know, despite the fact that they're up 3-1, nobody out and a couple of runners out, this is the guy that they've got to get going. I don't know how they're going to do it, but this is the guy that the Indians really have to have.
And no home runs since game 1 of the LCS. A ball and a strike. Kent Merker, the left-hander, sometimes their 5th starter, now out of the bullpen. Their 4th starter, Steve Avery, is Bobby Cox's choice tomorrow night against Ken Hill of the Indians. Tap foul. If there is a game 5, if the Indians can win at least one of the next 2, Hershiser and Maddox would match up again in game 5 here. If it goes to 6, Glavine and Martinez reprise their game 2 matchup, and in all likelihood it would be Smoltz and Nagy again if we needed a 7th game in Atlanta. A run home in the bottom of the 3rd. 3-1 Indians. 2 on, nobody out. And a 1-2 pitch coming to Albert Bell. Hit hard toward the middle. It's through. Vizquel is going to score. An RBI for Bell. Grissom has trouble with it in center, but Baerga, who's not very speedy, stops at second base. 4-1 Cleveland. He's hit balls much harder, but symbolically it's important for Albert Bell.
Oh, absolutely, Bob. I mean, a breaking ball up that he hit up the middle, despite the fact that they were shifted on him towards the bag at second, talking about Lemke. There you see Lemke near the bag, but he got that ball through between Belliard and Lemke, and he actually jammed himself, it looked like, Joe, on a breaking ball, a hanging breaking ball.
Dave Winfield, chief cheerleader these days, reacting. Murray rolls one foul. 4 straight hits in the Cleveland 3rd.
Well, this is actually what Mike Hargrove was talking about before the game. He said, we hit some balls hard in Atlanta against Glavine, and we didn't get any results. Well, really, they've only hit one ball hard this inning, but they've gotten some results. The only ball that was hit hard was Kenny Lofton's ball.
Murray grounded out his first time up. And he's behind 0-2. Murray is the only Cleveland hitter with any sort of significant history against John Smoltz from his days in the National League with the Mets and the Dodgers. 285 with 1 home run and 43 at-bats against Smoltz. Struck him out.
Again, he's gone to another pitch now. That's something you very rarely see. That's 2 changeups in a row that he threw to Murray. It's actually a splitter that goes down and away. Now watch this pitch go away. But the speed is what fools Murray, not so much the break.
Nagy touched for a run in the top of the 1st. Now sitting on a 4-1 cushion. Smoltz trying to keep it there. Here's Tomey, who struck out against him in the 2nd. And it's in there for strike 1.
Now, we talked at the top of the game, Bob, about the fact that the Indians have scored almost 7 per start for Nagy this year. Got him 4 here by the 3rd.
A ball and a strike to Tomey. Ramirez will be next. 2 1/3 in this game. The Indians have 6 hits against the 8 they amassed in the first 2 games in Atlanta.
And you see again, he's going to a different pitch. So he feels like he doesn't have good enough control with his fastball, and his slider sheet takes a little bit more off of that pitch. They're way out front. And remember, the first 2 pitchers in this series got these hitters out with a lot of changeups. And you see him take a lot off of this pitch, and they chase it. That's how he got Murray out as well.
And the 1-2. Blocked by Lopez, no advance. The Indians do not have good speed on the bases now. Baerga and Bell. Neither runs especially well.
And Baerga with the ankle problem has been limping noticeably tonight during batting practice, during infield.
It's the left ankle that's been bothering him. Wearing an air cast on it. You see the bulge beneath the uniform leg. 2-2 pitch rolled foul. The season for the 1954 Indians, and that's all you hear about here, that historical reference, ended in disbelief. Losing the World Series would have been one thing. To be swept and lose games 3 and 4 over at the old ballpark before more than 80,000 fans, that was a numbing experience. This team is staring at that possibility. But they're doing something about it early here, leading 4-1 and threatening for more. Full count.
Not to say the Braves are out of this game by any means.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I mean, when you're walking around Cleveland, I mean, walking through the airport, people coming up to you, and I mean very nervous. Cleveland fans talked about the possibility of a sweep and how disastrous it would be to this city and to this ball club. Although the Indians players wouldn't admit that. I mean, they say the Braves are expected to win this thing. They've been there a couple of other times and came up empty.
Doubtful that the runners would be going. Thome strikes out a lot. They're not going, and he walks to fill the bases. And Cox may be coming to get him right now. Brad Klontz, the right-hander, joined Merker, the left-hander, in the bullpen. And John Smoltz, almost always brilliant in the postseason prior to tonight, is going to leave with his team in a 4-1 hole and the bases loaded with only 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd. Serenaded, if that's the word, by Ray Charles. Hit the road, Jack.
Well, they brought in Brad Klontz because he can get the ground ball. He is a sinker ball pitcher, and he works from the first base side of the rubber, steps across, and he gets a good crossfire on the right-handers. And his sinker ball, he was sink it down and in, and he just wants to get a ground ball here. That's what they brought him in for. That's his job right now.
The Indians a base hit away perhaps from breaking this game open. And a called strike. Klontz was the Braves closer earlier this year. One of a parade of guys Bobby Cox has tried before finally settling around midseason on Mark Wohlers, who just about blew everybody away and gave them that missing element, the dominating and effective closer. 1-1.
And Klontz is one of those guys, Joe, excuse me, that as a right-handed batter, he's going to test you a little bit. I mean, you got to make yourself stay in there against him. Many times, you know, in the back of your mind, you're saying stay in there, but your backside is saying I'm leaving.
Well, he steps across towards third base, and he throws sidearm, as a lot of guys say. He throws out the third baseman's shirt.
Called strike 1 and 2.
And basically, he throws a sinker and a slider.
I would guess he's especially tough the first few times you see him.
Exactly, because you don't know where to pick the ball up from. You're normally used to looking for the ball coming from 3/4, and he just drops down, throws almost sidearm.
He's almost a submariner from down underneath.
Got a tiny piece of it to hang in.
Again, in talking about Clance and where you pick the ball up, normally, as Joe said, you know, you're looking 3/4 or up over the top from a pitcher. Look at this guy. He drops down as almost as if to throw it from around his kneecaps, and then comes up a little bit, Joe, almost to a sidearm style.
And the 1-2 pitch. Hit hard, but a double play ball. Lemke to the bag himself, and the throw to complete it. Clance comes in to get a double play ball. That's what he does. But 2 more score. It's 4-1 Cleveland, and we're back after this from your local station.
You know where you might take a shot at running him here, Joe, with 2 outs. You've got the lead, and you got Vizquel up there who can handle the bat.
First 2 hitters for the Indians are 5 for 5. Here's Vizquel running on the first pitch. Bluffs the bunt to protect him. Good throw. He's out for the first time in this postseason. Lofton is erased. The bottom of the 4th is in the books. Lopez continues to sparkle.
This has to be a perfect throw from Javier Lopez because, I mean, Lofton had a good jump. Look at that, right on the back. All you have to do is catch it, and that's what Lemke does. You get a better angle here. Pretty good jump there, except he stood straight up, and I think that slowed him down just a little bit, but the throw is perfect. Look at this. The only way you could get him is to catch it right there, and that's what Lemke does.
Boy, what a great shot. That's a great shot.
Look at this angle. Now Lemke just catches the ball as Lofton slides into it with his hand. Look at that. Just perfect. Catches it right on his left arm.
So after 9 successful attempts in the postseason, Lofton is finally caught.
Well, we knew they'd catch him sooner or later, Bob, but I really didn't think that they would have a shot with Clance. But again, just a perfect throw. Clance didn't hold him. Lopez threw him out.
When Mr. Baseball walks into a ballpark in Cleveland and they check his credential and it says Bob Uecker, they're a little confused. They think it should read Harry Doyle, voice of the Indians. Take a look.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Ball 4. Ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches.
On camera.
You know, that is the footage that the members of the Academy reviewed and inexplicably withheld a Best Actor nomination.
Yeah, well, you know what? And again, it's my own fault. I could have had it. I said, hey, I'm busy. Give it to somebody else. I can't be at the dinner. You know what I'm saying? Hey, how about that guy earlier in the postseason? The Charlie Sheen lookalike they had here, throwing out the first ball to try and jumpstart the Indians.
Polonia was at the plate when Grissom straight off third tried to catch the Indians sleeping and instead was thrown out himself. So Polonia back to start the 6th.
Actually, at the beginning of the ball game, I thought that the DH in this ball game was going to help Atlanta more than it was going to help the Indians because it added speed at the top of the lineup in the person of Polonia. And other than Marquise Grissom, there's really not any speed on the Atlanta Braves. And Bobby Cox wanted to play a more aggressive ball game tonight, but he fell behind early, and I think that's taken a little bit away. But I still feel like it added a little more defense as well as speed.
Fouled into the seats, 2-2.
Whereas with the Indians, adding Sorrento really didn't help their defense much. Plus, it was just adding a bat to the lineup.
Didn't help their defense at all. In fact, he's made 5 postseason errors now. No sooner do I say it than it appears. That's all other first basemen combined in the postseason with 3. Polonia with a weak wave at the splitter, and he sits down.
Well, it's a good split-fingered fastball from Nagy, and when he gets ahead in the count, he seems to get the hitters to chase this pitch. They do not chase it unless they're behind in the count. So it's been only used when he gets 2 strikes on most of the hitters. He's been successful with it.
That tells you what Polonia thought about the pitch and the swing right there.
Chipper Jones, a double and a walk.
You know, again, Nagy, Joe, as we said at the top of the telecast, is not overpowering by any means, but I mean, if he's on control-wise, he can chase those kinds of pitches. I mean, to a left-hander like Jones, he's not afraid to come down low and inside or off the inside with breaking stuff and then go away again. I mean, his strong suit is staying down with the sinker.
Reaches for it, sends a soft fly into shallow center. Lofton coming on to make the catch.
Another good pitch there by Nagy. That was a changeup, and he had Jones out in front, and a good jump on the ball by Lofton. You see him smartly take a look at Baerga to make sure he's not going to run through him. And watch this pitch. He has not been able to get Jones out with any other pitch, so he throws him a changeup. See how far he's out in front? He hadn't thrown him a changeup the entire ball game, and Jones had looked good against him.
McGriff takes a ball. I wonder if Kenny Lofton does what Willie Mays purposely did. Wear a hat just a little bit too small so that it flies off with the slightest exertion. Makes you look a little more exciting.
He wears it high. I know that. The bill of the cap is high where you're going to get some air under it. I used to do that when I was running to first, so it looked like I was running faster. Just knock it off with your thumb, you know, in your stride. It wasn't a bad move.
Gives the appearance that you're really burning down the line, doesn't it? But I mean, whether on the bases with the helmet or in the field with the cap, it flies off almost every time for Lofton.
Well, he is an exciting player. He does a lot of things with a flair.
McGriff drives one to right. Ramirez turns and watches this one go out for McGriff's second home run of this World Series and his fourth of the postseason. That got out there in the blink of an eye.
And this was not a bad pitch by Nagy. It was down, and McGriff just went and got it and hit a line drive into the right field seats. This is more of a line drive. This was not a long fly ball like he hit off of Hershiser. See, that pitch is down. It's down and in fact, and he just nails it to right field, and he knows it's gone right away. No chance for Ramirez. He just kind of looks up.
And McGriff with that distinctive Toreador finish with the bat. No one completes a swing quite like Fred McGriff. So now the Braves are within 2. Their first run since the first.
And we talked earlier about Mike Hargrove and Charles Nagy tonight wanting 5 good or 6+ innings out of this guy and then get to the bullpen and use it the way he normally does. If it has to be left-hander or right-hander, but just to get those guys some work.
But he also mentioned he'd like to have a 5 or 6 run lead just to give Mesa some innings.
Vizquel at short. Justice is gone. The homer by McGriff, though, makes it a 4-2 game after 5½. Bottom of the 6th. Indian lead trimmed to 4-2. Thome, Ramirez, and Sorrento against Merker.
Now, this is one guy that Thome will not have to wait for. Merker will go right after him with the fastball, then he will try to maybe finish him off with a slider, but he will challenge it.
Ball and a strike. Punsters in the audience. He's reached that section many times. High with a fastball, 2-1. Thome had a pair of homers, big ones too, against Seattle in the league championship series. 3-1 the count.
And the Indians with a 2-run cushion, and the Braves still very much in this thing, only in the 6th inning. I know they'd like to have a couple of more. They've scored more in this game than they have in the previous 2 games, but still, it may not be enough.
In the air to center. Grissom started in. Now he goes back. And shy of the track, he has it. This 1995 World Series game is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. The most prescribed medication of its kind is now for heartburn, Tagamet HB, and Gillette Sensor XL in the Gillette series. Gillette, the best a man can get. Now Ramirez, who was a very big hitter in this game. With the bases loaded and 1 out in the 3rd, 2 runs already home. Klontz came out of the bullpen and got him to hit into a double play. Hit the ball sharply, but right at Lemke. And that kept it at 4-1. A base hit there would have broken the game open. Down to 3rd, Chipper Jones. Griff stays on the bag. 2 out in the 6th.
I think in the Cleveland Indians' mind, though, Bob, they're in good shape in this ball game. They are, in their mind, they say, if we can get 6 more outs and get to Mesa, you know, we're in good shape. And I think that's what they're playing for right now, trying to get 6 more outs from the Atlanta Braves.
That's the man Joe's talking about. He's the main man out of the Indians bullpen. Not Rick Vaughn.
Sorrento way in front of the changeup. 0-2. Sorrento could have been a name etched in infamy for Atlanta Brave fans. Instead, it wound up being Dan Gladden and Gene Larkin who combined, one scoring it, the other knocking it in for the run in the 10th that ended that 91 World Series. But Sorrento had an at-bat an inning earlier with men at 1st and 3rd and 2 out, and Alejandro Pena struck him out. Had Sorrento come through as a pinch hitter, he'd be a part of World Series history. Now just a footnote. He was a bench player then for the Twins.
If you bring it up, he's a part of World Series history, buddy.
Yeah, but I had to look in the small type.
Not too long. Not too long.
Nagy with Bud Black, former Indian, Royal, and Giant left-hander. Now a coach at Cleveland. 2-2. Klontz and Merker have done a good job. 2 1/3 to this point combined. 1 hit, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Sorrento goes down swinging. It's a perfect 6th for Merker. On to the 7th, 4-2 Indians. That one isn't. On the first pitch, as we go to the 7th, Ryan Klesko with an opposite field home run, and he's come to life tonight. Robbed of a hit his first time, singled his next, and then launches a rocket into the seats in left center on the first pitch of the 7th. So solo homers by McGriff and then Klesko have made this a 1-run game.
Well, he talked to us before the ball game about going back through the middle and cutting down on his swing. He's hit 2 balls back up the middle, and now he hits 1 in the seats in left field.
I told you, the ball carries in this ballpark, despite the fact the wind is blowing to right. He hit this ball out of here in deep left center. And it's 4-3 now, and the Indians bullpen is busy.
Klesko, who had 23 in the regular season, connects for his first postseason home run. Here's Lopez, who's homer 1 game 2. He's 0 for 2 tonight. He's hit safely in all 7 postseason games in which he's played. At .315 for the season. The count to him. Left-hander Jim Poole is up now in the Indian bullpen. Klesko really touched one off. Called strike. 1-2. Eric Plunk, the right-hander. has joined Poole, the southpaw. The 1-2 pitch.
You know, this is the area in the game, Joe, where Hargrove talked to us about, you know, the possibility of Nagy giving him 6 good innings and then getting to the bullpen. He's given up 1 here in the 7th.
Hop up towards first baseman Sorrento. Into foul ground he goes for the catch. Now for tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust baseball fact, Eddie Murray has hit at least 1 World Series home run in the 70s, 80s, and now 90s. Who are the 2 other players who have hit World Series home runs in 3 different decades? I wonder if Babe Ruth isn't one of them. Might have hit one, even though he was a pitcher, in 1918, the last time the Red Sox won it all. Lemke, the hitter, certainly hit them in the 20s and the 30s for the Yankees. Any other guesses from the choir here?
We're thinking about it. You jumped in too early and got it wrong already. Truck's on your case, buddy, right quick.
Hey, but at least I'm willing to risk looking foolish.
I'd rather wait and see the answer and look good.
No guts, no glory, pal. A run home here in the 7th. The count 0-2 to Lemke. 1 out and nobody on. Lofted in center field. The ball hit fairly well, but Kenny backs up and takes it. Now let's see if they'll send someone up to hit for Belliard, and they will. It'll be Dwight Smith, who has been their best pinch hitter. 1 at bat in this series, and he ripped a single off Dennis Martinez in the 6th inning of game 2.
If you're Bobby Cox and you know that they have Jose Mesa in the bullpen, you manage a little differently. You say, I have to try to, you know, tie this ball game before we get to Mesa time. So I think he's going to pull all stops in this inning and next inning to try to make sure they catch up. He'd like nothing better than to keep Mesa out of this ball game
and get him in here with a 1-run lead or better.
16 pinch hits during the regular season for Smith. 1-1.
Can I have my guess?
Go ahead.
I'll say Berra.
40s, 50s, and 60s for the Yankees. Good guess. Hammered to the right side, smothered by Sorrento. Underhands to Nagy, covering. Good play. Smith robbed of a pinch hit. Sorrento, as we mentioned, has had his troubles with the glove in the postseason, but a good play here.
It was a good play. Another backhanded diving stab by Sorrento. He did it earlier on a ball hit by Grissom in the 5th, knocked it down and went for an infield single, and he was charged with an error when he threw it by Nagy. Here it is again, a nice backhanded play by Sorrento. Beautiful play, and this time a nice little underhand toss to end the inning. Yep, nice play.
Merker trying to keep it a 1-run game. Misses high with his first pitch to Alomar. Will be followed by Lofton and Vizquel. Clance and Merker have given the Braves a chance in this game. Hammered to short. The new shortstop is the rookie Mike Mordecai. He throws low, and McGriff bails him out.
Well, there's an old saying in this game, the ball will always find you. You go out there, here's a young player playing his first World Series. What happens? The first pitch that he's playing in the field, it finds him, and he doesn't make a good throw. He holds on to it a little too tightly, and McGriff, as you said, bails him out. Good play by McGriff. And you see, he says, hey, well, but he got away with it. Hey, that first ground ball is always the toughest.
And it's cold tonight, Joe, and maybe didn't have enough time to warm up. There you see, he's played well in 69 games without an error.
Useful guy off the bench, had a big hit in the LCS against Cincinnati to give them a 9th inning lead, a game they eventually won in extra innings. A couple of years ago at Richmond, he played every position during the season except pitcher. Lofton's 3 for 3, pair of singles and a double. Caught stealing, though, back in the 4th for the first time this postseason.
Beautiful throw by Lopez. Had to be on the bag, and it was to get him.
This postseason has been something of a coming out party for Javi Lopez, who obviously is a fine player. Hit .315 with 14 homers, but he has really come through on a national stage against the Reds and now here against the Indians.
I talked to Charlie O'Brien before the game tonight, and he said Lopez will work tonight and tomorrow, and O'Brien said that he would catch the game on Thursday.
Lofton holds off, and it's 3-1. That's kind of a switch because O'Brien has almost always caught the games Greg Maddux pitches.
I talked to him before the game. That's what he told me. He said probably on Thursday.
And there's a walk for Lofton, aboard for the 4th consecutive time. Of course, the Braves are hoping. The whole question is moot, and Maddux is done for the year.
Absolutely.
They hope they can complete the sweep. Greg McMichael, who worked out of the bullpen in game 2. Getting ready here. A hearty sort, no sweatshirt.
Hey, you know, Joe and I were talking before the game about these cold weather days or nights where the only guys who are really comfortable in the game, the pitcher and the catcher. You can work up a little sweat as a pitcher, and the catcher jumping up and down and throwing constantly. Doesn't bother you all that much.
And Merker had Lofton going back to first base on the play. Merker has a pretty good move, and not so much a good move, but he gets rid of the ball quickly and he fakes you a lot. He will step off and throw over. Now watch Lofton. See, he kicked over that way and Lofton went back.
Vizquel, the switch hitter, now from the right side against Merker. There he goes, and the pitch is bounced to the right side. Lemke is able to get back, throws over to first, and he is mindful of how daring Lofton is. He checked him twice. He knew he had time to get Vizquel. He didn't have to throw right away, and he looked at Lofton twice just in case Kenny had any ideas about bolting for third once Lemke released the throw to first.
Well, you mentioned how smart Lemke is, or I did, and this is a hit and run. This is not a straight steal. It was a hit and run, so he knows where the ball is. Now he looks over to see Lemke. Lemke, of course, as you mentioned, checked him through the first, but McGriff was alert too. Now watch, normally his shortstop cover, but he knew who was covered. He played it the other way, and that's why I say Lemke's very smart. He knows where the pitch is going to be, so he held his ground.
It's really aggravating as a hitter sometimes, Joe, when a hit and run is put on and you know you're going to take a shot to right field, say a right-handed batter anyway, and you got the shortstop covering, and you do your job. I mean, you hit a ball to the right side that normally would be a base hit, but the other guy's covering.
So Lofton gets into scoring position, but with 2 out, it's up to Baerga. To him. He's 1 for 3, has a couple of RBIs tonight.
And I think the conversation that Lopez had with Merker was, look, there are 2 outs. Do not give too much of your attention to Lofton at second base. Let's get the hitter.
Especially with Bell due next.
Mordecai trying to sneak in behind. Now Lofton takes off, and there's no chance in the world.
Well, not only that, that was a bad play by Merker. Anytime your shortstop is standing at the bag, you either have to step off or throw to second base. I mean, if he throws that pitch over the plate and Baerga hits the ball, now watch. Now watch, Mordecai will go to the bag. You have to either throw it or step off. You got the whole left side open, and if he would have thrown a strike and Baerga pulled the ball, it would have been a base hit. Just not a smart play there by Merker. Step off if you don't want to throw to second.
Now Lofton dancing down the line at third as the pitch comes home to Baerga. Hit toward the hole. Mordecai from the outfield grabs, can't throw as he slips. And the speed of Lofton produces a run.
And as I said earlier, he loves the stage. He likes being the focus, and he is the catalyst of this ball club.
Here's one more time. Baerga pulled an outside pitch into the hole. There's Mordecai with a backhanded play. Down he goes. Lofton scores easily, and the Indians up again by 2. There's one more time. A pitch away from Baerga, and he pulled it to the hole. There's a nice play by Mordecai. If he can set himself, he may be able to throw out the slow-footed Baerga. Didn't work that way.
It's 5-3. And Bell takes a ball.
You know, if he does make that play, Joe, I think he has a chance to throw him out. Baerga running from the right side and hobbled. I think he had a chance to throw him out. They laid the dollar short. It's a run.
Vizquel was talking the other day about Bell's outbursts. He can be a surly guy, Albert Bell. He said, Omar said, I've seen him break water coolers, smash telephones, and throw cookies. Now here's what I say. A telephone, a water cooler, that's one thing. When you start throwing the Oreos around, forget about it. You've gone too far. 3-0. You just start pitching cookies around a clubhouse, you have crossed the line. Obviously, he's swinging here on 3-0 if he sees something he likes.
But if you're Merker, you try to throw something close enough off the plate away just so he will swing at it.
He looked like he was taking all the way, didn't he?
Yeah, the way he was standing up there, it appeared that he was going to take a pitch, and Merker missed with a low fastball. I guess in that situation, Joe, I mean, with a guy like Bell and in the situation we have here, that wasn't a bad pitch. I mean, you know, if you want to take a whack at one, he's a guy that drives in a lot of runs for you, to take a whack and try and go for it, but he didn't.
Well, he's not swinging the bat as well. He hasn't had a lot of success, and as you know, as a hitter, if you're not swinging the bat well, you're not getting a lot of base hits. You're not overly aggressive.
Merker had done a great job until this inning when with 1 out, he walked Lofton. As Vizquel grounded out on a hit and run, Lofton took second. Then he stole third uncontested. And an infield hit by Baerga brought him home from third. Now Bell walks, so runners at first and second with 2 out. Merker sits down next to the pitching coach Leo Mazzoni. And Greg McMichael, the right-hander, comes out of the bullpen. Might be in trouble when Shula blows the whistle tomorrow in Miami.
Well, Greg McMichael throws a lot of changeups, and that pitch has bothered Eddie Murray in this entire series. That's why they brought him in.
In for a strike, and Murray doesn't think so. Bruce Fleming is as feisty as they come. Right or wrong, if you give him too much lip, your evening will end abruptly.
His statement is, I saw it right. No matter what it is, on the bases, ball or a strike, I saw it right.
Strike at the letters that Eddie thought was high. Tomey on deck. 1-1. In the top of the 8th, Grissom, Polonia, and Chipper Jones for Bobby Cox. Top of the order. Eddie pops it back, no play.
Good pitch by McMichael. He knows Eddie's sitting on a changeup there. Threw him another fastball in. Now he's got him set up for the changeup because he's seen the fastball in, and he has to protect against that, so he'll be able to throw him a changeup now. If he can get it away, he probably will be able to get Eddie out.
McMichael and Lopez having a little problem with the sign there. They've got a runner at second. That's Baerga out there, and Lopez going to a different set of signs here.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch.
Change up.
In the dirt, but he wasn't able to check his swing. Lopez tags him to make it official. But a huge run comes home in the 7th for the Indians to pad their lead. And here is tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust answer. Who are the 2 other players besides Eddie Murray who have hit World Series home runs in 3 different decades? Well, Bob Uecker got one of them. He knew Yogi Berra, and Joe DiMaggio in the 30s, 40s, and 50s for the Yankees is the other.
I only guessed once, so.
No.
Did you have an idea or not?
If I'd thought about it long enough, it's one of those answers you could figure out because you got to go to the Yankees first.
Okay.
Figure a dynasty team.
I'm a bit upset.
But I didn't get it.
No. I don't want you to don't get mad. I just asked you a question. I'm sorry.
Working on a short fuse here. And Nagy is working into the 8th. Does that surprise you?
Well, I think it surprised me, except they got one more run there. I think he would have been out of the ball game if they wouldn't have gotten the run in the bottom.
Grissom swings on the first pitch. Ramirez sprinting back and right, and this ball hits the top of the wall. Grissom on his way to second and in with a leadoff double.
I think they left him in one pitch too long. I think he'll take him out now.
You know, you've got the left-hander and the right-hander up in the bullpen, and the left-hander was ready. And as we said earlier, I mean, you've gotten 7 good innings out of this guy. You get him an extra run to bring it back to a 2-run cushion, and he's still in here in the 8th. And Grissom with a leadoff double.
Fastball right out over the heart of the plate, and the wind helped it, pushing it out toward right. It very nearly cleared the wall, as you see, just a foot or 2 from the top.
Now I'm really surprised that he's leaving him in, except I guess he figures if he brings in the left-hander Osamacher, they will pinch hit for Polonia and bring up Mike Devereaux.
But in the league championship series, he left Osamacher in that game, and he did a great job against right-handed hitters in a situation that was on the line. I mean, the game was on the line.
I think if you're the Indians, you have to take him out too soon rather than too late.
Well, he's fallen behind Polonia 2-0. The next hitter, Chipper Jones, is a switch hitter. Then 2 lefties, McGriff and Justice. Tavares, the right-hander. Osamacher, the lefty. It looked like Hargrove might have said, "Do you think you can get this guy?" And Nagy said, you could plainly see him say, "I do."
Well,
so unless he proposed marriage, Nagy believes he can get Polonia.
Yep.
The 2-0. 3-0 with Jones on deck.
You know what Mike Hargrove was thinking right there on that last call by Fleming? He thought the pitch was a strike. It was close, but it was up.
Grissom goes diving back, but no throw from Nagy. Game 3, Atlanta up 2-0, but in the 8th here, it's 5-3 Cleveland. Called strike, 3-1. Polonia's 0 for 3. And Sorrento can't get it. It's by the diving first baseman. Grissom is waved home. RBI single for Polonia.
And we're back to what I said earlier in the ballgame: risk versus reward. Just getting Polonia out, would have been the purpose? I still don't understand why it was so important for Nagy to pitch. For Nagy to pitch to Polonia. I don't understand why that was so important.
I don't know why he's in here in the 8th.
That's what I'm getting at. Why was it important for Nagy to have to get out Polonia?
No way. I mean, the way Hargrove has used his bullpen, and he's had the luxury of right-hander, left-hander, right-hander, lefter all year long. And then with Mesa to come in and work the ninth in those situations where you've had the lead. But it hasn't happened here tonight. I mean, 7 innings out of Nagy would have been enough for me.
Well, not only that, Chipper Jones is a switch hitter, so you couldn't have been waiting for anything special.
He's going to the left-hander, the former Brave, Paul Assenmacher. Nagy's done. We'll step aside. Back at Jacobs Field, Bob Costas, Bob Uecker, Joe Morgan. It's a one-run game again. And Polonia's at first with nobody out. And the heart of the order coming up. Chipper Jones, McGriff, and Justice. Assenmacher comes in. When we went to Atlanta for the first 2 games, he was very happy not to have to stay in the hotel. Still lives in Atlanta. Said, hey, I got to sleep in my own bed. He's been very effective in this postseason. In fact, all the lefties out of Mike Hargrove's bullpen have done a great job. Left-handed hitters against Assenmacher, Poole, and Embry combined are 0 for 14, and half of them have struck out.
Well, remember the league championship series, Bob, when he faced Seattle and Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner in a key situation and strikes them out back-to-back. And again, that's why I don't understand why Hargrove didn't go to the bullpen. I mean, you've got 7 innings out of Nagy, and take him out. Go to your bullpen. You got fresh arms out there and fresh legs and guys who had been throwing. And he waits till the 8th. The run is in here. Still nobody out. And the tying run at first.
Chipper Jones turns around and bats from the right side.
If there would have been a left-handed hitter following Polonia, then I could understand, or a right-handed hitter that he was going to bring in a right-hander for. I could understand him leaving in, but there wasn't really much to accomplish by letting Nagy pitch to Polonia. Because with Chipper Jones being a switch hitter, it doesn't matter who you bring in, he's going to be able to get moved to the other side of the plate.
Assenmacher again to first, and Polonia again back. Jones has doubled, walked, and flied to center.
The Braves have always been able to come back late in ball games, especially when against the starters.
In there for a strike.
Assenmacher with a good fastball and features a nasty curve. Joe, I know you've seen this guy work before, and he's got an excellent curveball that he's not ashamed at all to throw in tight on right-handed batters. It's a very sharp downward breaking ball.
Assenmacher has begun growing a beard during this postseason. He began it clean-shaven except for the mustache.
He does not have a good pickoff move, and we'll see if the Braves are willing to give Polonia the green light.
Jones fouls it back.
Remember, if you're a base runner and the left-handed pitcher takes his right foot past the rubber, he has to go to the plate. So that's a real telltale sign for you.
Jones steps out and takes a long look at Jimmy Williams in the third base coaching box, but he's behind on the count now, 0-2. Down and in.
Now watch his right leg. Now when that foot goes behind the rubber, he has to go to the plate, and you can get a good jump by reading that. And see, to come to first base, he just picks it straight up. So he's very easy to read from that perspective. He kicks his right leg behind the rubber. It's very easy. You run. When he picks it straight up, he's going to either come over there, he's coming to first base.
Here's the 1-2, the runner not going, and the count levels. Nagy went 7 innings plus, 8 hits, 4 runs, struck out 4, walked 1. The book isn't closed on him because Polonia is his responsibility at first. There goes the runner with the pitch down and in, and Polonia steals second. The ball squirts away, but he's able to hold there after thinking about bolting for third.
And again, it was very easy to get a good jump off of Ossenmacher because of his right foot. He just kicks it behind the rubber, or he picks it up to come to first. It's like a red light, green light. Green light when he goes behind, as he does there. Red light if he picks it straight up. Really no chance for Alomar. You see, he was trying to rush it. Ball gets away, but no chance for Polonia. Watch, right there, go. Right there, he does so. And he got a good jump, and he steals second base easily.
Alomar double clutched on that ball, too, Joe. He didn't have a good grip when he tried to get off the throw the first time.
And now Jones, after being behind in the count 0-2, draws a walk. The tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first, with nobody out in the eighth. A run already home here. Grissom doubled. Polonia singled him home. Now Polonia at second and Jones at first, and here's McGriff. Homered his last time. Ball one. Although the percentages favor Ossenmacher in the lefty-lefty matchup, Fred McGriff is on the short list of the most dangerous late-inning hitters in all of baseball over the past several years. In there, strike one. Center. Lofton going back, way back to the track to haul it in. The runners tag, and they're both going to move up. A close play at second. And Chipper Jones is barely in there in time.
Very smart play by Polonia. I'm not so sure Chippers was as smart, but he makes it.
Well, now that he has made it, a single can give them the lead.
Hargrove now in a discussion with Frank Pulley. He was there. I thought he beat the throw, but a heck of a throw by Lofton.
Nice play by Lofton.
Heck of a throw. This is a heck of a catch and a heck of a throw. Polonia is going to make the break and go to third easily, but watch this throw by Lofton. And they almost nailed Jones at second. A one-hopper to Baerga covering. And they almost got him. This is a very close play, but he's in there.
You're right.
He got there.
Look how strong and accurate that throw was from the track, and without any hesitation. He has to get his bearings after making the catch.
A lot of people talk about Lofton's speed, but he has one of the better throwing arms in the American League. As you look at the tag one more time, Jones in there, and the tag late by Baerga. Close play at second.
A good slide by Jones away from the tag on the infield rather than outfield side of second base.
Well, he had to play in front of him, Bob. He saw the throw coming from Lofton, and as the runner, you can do anything you want. The second baseman doesn't know where you're going. All he can do is wait to grab the ball and then try to slap a tag on you.
I just don't think he felt that Lofton would be able to make that good a throw running away from the infield as he was.
The infield is back. On a ground ball, they'll concede the tying run. That or a fly ball could tie this game. A base hit could give them the lead. Baerga boots it. Does he recover in time? No, safe. The game tied, and runners at the corners. Still only one out. The Indians, who appeared to have this game in hand, leading at one time 4-1. Then after the Braves crept back to within 4-3, they got an insurance run. But it's evaporated here in the eighth.
Well, this ball is booted by Baerga. I don't know how they're going to score it, but he should have come up with that ball. He got a good hop. He just did not make the play. In a hustling, Dave Justice beats the play at first base. Now watch this ball. He has plenty of time to get over there. He does get there. Now watch, he's there right in front of it. He just misses it. And again, he recovers quickly, but you have to give Justice credit because he was hustling down the line and he beats the throw at first.
They've scored it, an error, and here is Hargrove again. As the Braves have tied this game. Remember back a couple of innings ago, Joe, when it was 4-1?
Right.
And we talked about it not being enough, maybe not being enough. Well, back to even, and still only one out, and the lead run now at third. And another change for the Indians.
Hargrove waited for Devereaux to be announced as a pinch hitter for Klesko, then goes to the bullpen. Assenmacher out, and the right-hander Tavares coming in to pitch to Devereaux. So even though Klesko had homered his last time up, as long as the left-hander Assenmacher was in there, Cox was going to go to his bench and send up Devereaux. And in turn, Hargrove makes his counter move. But a move he didn't make may haunt him. To take Nagy out at the start of this inning, which is what just about everybody expected. Instead, he leaves him in for two hitters. The first pitch of the inning was a fat fastball that Grissom doubled on. Then after he fell behind Polonia 2-0, Hargrove went out to talk to him. Nagy appeared to assure him that he still felt as if he had something left and could get Polonia. Polonia grounded a sharp single by the diving Sorrento at first base. That made it 5-4, and at that point, Hargrove went to the bullpen for Assenmacher. Assenmacher got ahead of Chipper Jones 0-2, but then lost him on a walk. McGriff belted one to deep center field. Lofton made the catch on the warning track. Both runners tagged. And the runner at first, Jones, got away with it. Polonia advanced to third easily. It was a close play at second. Jones was able to slide in safely, and now that becomes very important because as Justice grounded to the right side, Polonia would have scored in any case, but on the error by Baerga, Chipper Jones now finds himself at third base rather than at second, assuming that the sequence played itself out and the pitching pattern would have been the same way. So he's in position now to score the go-ahead run on an out.
On a fly ball. Now, base hit, fly ball, air, pass ball, wild pitch, whatever. The Braves are in great shape here in the 8th inning.
Jacobs Field much quieter now all of a sudden as we look down on it from the Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron, piloted by Captain Patrick Henry. As we mentioned at the beginning of the telecast, no team has ever fallen behind 0-3 in a best-of-7 series of any kind, League Championship Series or World Series, and come back to win it. Lots of teams have been down 0-2 and recovered to win, or at least to take it to 7 games and make it interesting.
Things were going so nicely here tonight, Bob. They get the lead. Braves get one in the opening inning. Indians come right back with 2 to get the crowd into the game. Everybody's screaming and hollering. Come up with 2 more in the 3rd to take a 4-1 lead, and things are really looking good. You get Nagy cruising through the 4th, 5th. They get 1 in the 6th, and you figure, hey, now it's time to go to the guys in the pen. Run him out for the 7th, and as I said, here in the 8th, day late again.
What a spot for a rookie. Although Tavares has seen so much work, he's about as seasoned as a rookie can be. 10 relief wins led the majors. And a ball outside. The infield looks for the double play.
Well, Devereaux was the MVP of the divisional series because he came through in clutch situations time after time for the Atlanta Braves in this similar type of situation against the Reds.
The 1-0 pitch is hammered into left center field. It gets down for a base hit. The Braves have taken the lead. In comes Chipper Jones. Justice stops at second.
And Devereaux does it again. And he was a great pickup by the Braves in the middle of the season. They needed another bat, and they brought in Devereaux, and he has done a great job for them.
That pitch was upstairs on Devereaux from Tavares, and he rips it in the left center. There it is again.
Breaking ball.
Yep.
Lopez now grounds one to the right side. Baerga will try to turn two. Vizquel up in the air brilliantly on the pivot. But not before 3 runs come home in the 8th. And suddenly it's 6-5 Atlanta. Good news, bad news for Tavares. First, the good news. He gets Lopez to ground to Baerga. Vizquel, who has just played eye-popping ball at short throughout the postseason, completes the double play. But earlier, he'd given up the hit to Devereaux. And as we come back live, we don't get to see Tavares' reaction. Maybe we can get back to it. Watch what he does. Hung that breaking ball to Devereaux, who delivered the RBI single off him to give the Braves the lead for the first time since the first inning. Thome on the 0-1 pitch hops to the right side, and Lemke tucks it away.
Julian Tavares with a hanging breaking ball, and Devereaux ripped it to left center. And the Indians find themselves behind 6-5 here in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
Greg McMichael out there in the 8th. But if they maintain the lead, it'll be Wohlers to try to bring the hammer down in the 9th. Mike Hargrove has done a brilliant job managing the Indians this year. They were 144. And a big part of managing isn't just in-game strategy. It's the atmosphere that you maintain on a ball club. He has been great in that regard. But if the Indians go down in this series, part of the storyline will be the managing decisions Hargrove made. And in the 3 most important instances, it will be what he didn't do rather than what he did do. He didn't pitch out with Belliard at the plate in the 7th in Game 1. He didn't walk Javi Lopez in the 6th inning of Game 2. And he homered off Martinez, who appeared to be weakening. And he didn't take Nagy out to start the 8th when he had turned in 7 good innings. And by the time Nagy was taken out, the tying runs were already aboard, and a nightmare inning had begun. An inning that didn't end until the 2 men Nagy had put on had scored, plus another guy who reached against this fella, Asenmacher, who now stands to be the loser. 3 runs in, and it's 6-5 Atlanta. A 2-2 pitch coming from McMichael to Ramirez. Fouled off.
Bob, when you are trailing in a series, whether it be a divisional series or a World Series, and your team is down, you always have to take the pitcher out 2 pitches or so earlier than 2 pitches late. You should always take the guy out too soon rather than too late.
Another 2-2 pitch. Full count. If they don't get back into this series, I know we would all hate to see Mike Hargrove receive some of the criticism he will inevitably receive, because the public can be tough, the press can be tough. This is a class guy, but his moves have not worked for him here. A walk to Ramirez.
You know, it's not a second guess by any means, Bob, because it's something that he told us before the game, that if he gets 6 good innings out of Nagy, maybe 7, but 6 good ones, to go to the bullpen. And it didn't happen that way tonight. I mean, again, after the barn door was open, it was too late.
The tying run now is at first in the person of Ramirez. Sorrento, who has struck out all 3 times, comes up and takes one on the corner for a strike. He spread it around too. Struck out against Smoltz, Klontz, and Merker. Let's see what McMichael can do against him. Well, he's ahead of him 0-2. Mesa gets up with his team trailing by a run. A ball and 2 strikes to Sorrento, who hit just .235 for the year, but had 25 home runs.
This is a situation where Bobby Cox knows that if he can win this ball game, he can almost clinch the series. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wouldn't bring Wohlers in here in the 8th inning if he has to.
Hit hard, base hit. Ramirez to second, around second, stumbles a little bit as he heads for third. Justice's throw is cut off. And the Indians bounce back in the bottom of the 8th.
Good hitting by Sorrento to take advantage of that hole created by McGriff holding the runner on. See that big hole on the right side? If McGriff is back, he makes a play on this ball, but you can see holding the runner, he had no chance. Good hitting there by Sorrento, taking advantage of that hole on the right side.
There you see Ramirez coming around second. Jeff Newman telling him to get down at third, but the throw never came on. Well, you talk about walks hurting in games. In the 8th inning, top half, a walk cost the Indians a run, and here in the 8th, bottom half, walk to Ramirez could cost the Braves a run. Get this game back to even.
Cox isn't going to wait.
Now this is as I suspected. He would bring Wohlers in to try to finish this game off. Right now he needs a strikeout or a double play, and he does not really have many people in that bullpen who can get you the ground ball. Pena, who was up throwing as well, would not be able to get to the ground ball. He is basically a strikeout fly ball pitcher as well.
Exit McMichael, enter Wohlers, and we'll be back. As Mark Wohlers was walking in from the bullpen, you saw the graphic that ranked him 10th in the National League in saves this year with 25, but that's misleading. They were a couple of months into the season before he seized that closer's role. He'd had only 1 save over the previous 2 years, as they had mostly used him as a setup man. He could never quite find himself. He was in the Braves organization for many years, mostly at the major league level, could always throw very hard. But he finally found a groove this year and became their closer. And he will approach triple digits on the radar gun. We had him clocked at 99 in game 2.
Isn't it interesting, Bob, when you look at both these bullpens, the closers in both bullpens were guys that really found themselves later on. I mean, his closer started as something else. Mesa, who became the Indians closer, was a starter. And a guy that gave you 4 or 5 strong innings as a starter and then would run out of gas. They say, wait a minute, you know, if this guy is so good early, why not use him late and let him, you know, let him throw his best. Give it all he's got for an inning, and that's what they've used him for. 46 out of 48 times this year he has saved games for the Indians. But too, we may see the best of both of these clubs here in the late innings. Talking about Wohlers, he's in there now, and Mesa for Cleveland.
They're probably going to have to use Perry to play first base because Wayne Kirby has come into the game to run for Sorrento at first. We won't see Pena for a while because he's their only reserve catcher.
Well, if they would have to go that far, Espinosa would be the other guy if it came to that point.
Yeah. So the batter is Sandy Alomar Jr. First and third, 1 out. On the first pitch, he hits it between McGriff and the bag. The game is tied. Kirby, the pinch runner, to third. Stopped there by Newman. Alomar on his way in with a double, and he pumps his fist as he gets there. Well, you don't often pull Wohlers' heat. But Alomar hit it hard and sliced it between McGriff and the first base bag for a double.
That was a close call at first. John Hirschbeck, the umpire there, and a bullet. Here it is one more time. There you see McGriff come off the bag, and this ball right down the line and fair, and a big double, a run in, lead run at third now. Still only 1 out, and the guy who has really made things happen for the Indians, Penny Lofton, coming up.
think you have to walk Lofton in this situation.
Look at Alomar's reaction. Yeah. My biggest hit of the year for sure, says Sandy, and they do, as expected. Walk Lofton. Yep.
Well,
it was 3 for 3 with a walk.
Two things happen. You set up the double play and the force out at the plate, of course, and you want to make Vizquel be the one to beat you and not Kenny Lofton.
With a little luck now, Hargrove might be able to use Mesa in the 9th with a lead.
You're right. With a lot of luck, really.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, even if he does not get the lead here, I think he has to use Mesa.
That's what he said, too, Joe. He said he'd like to get him in there for an inning, no matter what the situation is. But hopefully it's going to be an Indian lead here when they take the field for the 9th.
Earlier in the postseason, once against the Red Sox in the division series, once against Seattle in the LCS, Hargrove did use Mesa for an inning with the game tied in extra innings. Let him pitch the 10th both times, as I remember, but took him out with the game still tied. Didn't bring him back out for an additional inning.
Braves infield up.
Vizquel has a triple, a bunt single, and he flied out and grounded out.
If you're thinking about a squeeze, it's kind of tough to squeeze with a guy like Wohlers, who's throwing close to 100 miles an hour.
Strike 1 to him. Vizquel led the Indians and was among the league leaders in sacrifice flies with 10. A fly ball is all they need to reclaim the lead. That'll make the seats. Each of the last 2 pitches were clocked at 97. The first 2 games of this series, 1-run Atlanta victories. The last 7 World Series defeats Bobby Cox has suffered have all been by 1 run. If he hasn't had a nervous breakdown by now, he never will. The 0-2. He's gone. Needing a strikeout. That's what Wohlers got. And on 3 pitches.
And you have to give Javier Lopez a lot of credit there. He called for the fastball away. Wohlers wanted to throw a breaking ball in the dirt, and he catches it. Look at this. I mean, this is the game's on the line here. He blocks it, comes up with it. And you have to remember, very difficult to call a breaking ball in this situation when you have a guy throwing 90 miles an hour out there, but they get the job done.
And Lopez, as you said, Joe, not only down to block it, but caught it. Got his body in front just in case. And a big strikeout on a check swing.
Vizquel couldn't come through. Now Baerga. With the bases juiced, but 2 down. He has 3 RBIs in a 2-for-4 night. Tied at 6. Hit sharply, Lemke. They'll tie it, but leave him loaded. To the 9th at Jacobs Field, game 3, all even. Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron still in the skies. Captain Patrick Henry with the game in extra innings, not yet at liberty, and it may be the death of him if this continues.
I've had enough.
With me or the game?
With you.
Mesa for his 3rd inning. This is uncharted territory for Jose Mesa this year.
But you know, he's still throwing well, as is Wohlers. I mean, they're still throwing in the high 90s. And another inning's not going to bother him all that much.
Embry in the bullpen. 2-1 to Mordecai on deck. Line drive into left center field. A leadoff hit for Lemke. Bell over to cut it off and get it back in.
Nice play there by Bell. He cut that ball off and got it back quickly to the infield. Held Lemke to a single.
Shortstop number 16, Mike Mordecai.
Bell got a good jump on this ball. Now watch, look, he goes a long way for this ball. And he gets there, he times it perfectly so he can whirl and fire, and he got rid of it, made an accurate throw to second base right there and held Lemke to a single.
Now Mordecai, who got a bunt down with 2 strikes for a sacrifice his last time up. Called strike. Squares around again and takes a ball. Grissom, the number 1 hitter, is on deck. Lemke has looked back.
Well, you see Mesa, he checking again to see if, make sure Mordecai was bunting. He was making sure they didn't change the sign and maybe put a hit and run on.
Jim Thome at third, still looking for the bunt from Mordecai, and again signs from Jimmy Williams at third.
There goes the runner. He's swinging away down the right field line. Ramirez in pursuit. Ramirez into foul ground. Doesn't have it.
Here it is again. Ramirez chasing into foul territory and right up against the wall in right, and can't come up with it. Another angle on a slicing fly ball off the bat of Mordecai.
That's an out in Atlanta.
Boy, I'm telling you.
Room down the right.
Isn't that the truth, Joe? All that foul territory.
So they took the bunt off and went with the hit and run. Not going this time. They put the bunt back on, and he strikes out.
Well, it squares around, the pitch is down, and he just misses it. That's a tough pitch to bunt. But he does square around in plenty of times. It's just a tough pitch. That's a tough pitch. Good sinking fastball from Mesa, down low.
Grissom has a pair of hits tonight. Different hitter in the postseason, and actually down the stretch in September than he was during the regular year when he hit just .258.
And again, the situation here, Joe, with a runner aboard, and what Bobby Cox told us earlier tonight about the fact that he wants to run and move. I mean, try to create something.
Bouncing ball to Baerga. Vizquel 1. Perry 2. They had to be quick with Grissom coming out of the box, and now they give themselves another chance to win.
When you get in the late innings, every double play becomes crucial, and this is a very good turn by Baerga over to Vizquel, and his relay back to first base just in time to get the speedy Grissom going down to first base. Well, they were complaining, but he was out. You'll see here the throw does beat him right there. He's out by half a step. And you see the infielders, they know that this is tough. When you make these kind of double plays under pressure, give your team a chance to win. It's always important.
Baerga made an error on the justice ground ball in the middle of the 3-run 8th inning for the Braves. But apart from that, and it was a big play, not trying to minimize it at all, but apart from that, he's turned in a good night in the field.
Very good night. He saved a run up the middle on Lopez, and that double play started there was just an excellent play there by Vizquel and Baerga.
Wohlers has gone far enough. Alejandro Pena, who was in this situation a number of times in World Series play earlier in this decade for the Braves, has the game in his hands again now. Inside to Baerga. Pena never could have thought his season would end with him in the World Series, with a game on the line, no less. In spring training, trying to hook on, Cleveland was one of the clubs he asked to take a look at him. They had him throw for less than 15 minutes and said, not interested. Baerga lifts one to the left side. Chipper Jones over. Mordecai over. It's in the seats. Then he was with Boston briefly. Then to the Marlins. A late August pickup to bolster the bullpen. Played an important role for them. And now, since Wohlers has thrown enough pitches and Cox has to get him out of there, he comes in with the game on the line. One and two.
And another guy with still a pretty good fastball, Joe. I mean, Wohlers has gone in the high 90s in that 100-mile-per-hour area, but this guy is in the 90s, 90 to 93, 94 miles per hour.
And he has real good movement on his fastball.
It's the kind of count where he often goes forkball. Fouled off again, and it holds at 1 and 2. Pena with Dodger clubs that went to the playoffs in '85, the World Series in '88, with 2 Atlanta pennant winners, '91 and '92. And another foul off Baerga's bat.
So far in this at bat, he stayed with the fastball because so far Baerga has not been able to get around on it. He knows he can't hurt him if he slaps the ball the other way.
And that's the way they play him, too. They're way around toward left for Baerga. There's a little something off speed, Joe, after a couple of good fastballs upstairs. There you see this, the Braves outfield way around towards left. Poloni only about 40 feet to 30 feet off the line, 30 to 40 feet off the line and left. Big gap in right center, and the right field line wide open.
Is it ever easy, thinks Bobby Cox. The 2-2. Full count.
Don't think this guy can't turn on you in a hurry, too. Talking about Baerga. 15 regular season home runs.
He's hit over 20 the last few years, and if it wouldn't have been a shortened season, he probably would have reached that number again.
And the count holds full. Pena on the mound for Cox and the Braves in the bottom of the 10th at the Metrodome in Game 7 in 1991. A bloop double by Dan Gladden started the inning, and eventually he gave up the run that lost the game in the series. Baerga smacks one into right center field. This is going to split the outfielders and go to the wall. It's at least a double. Baerga doesn't run that well, and he's content to stop at second base. pinch runner. Alvaro Espinosa will run for him, and if the game is prolonged, then Espinosa will play second.
Here's that last pitch by Pena, a low fastball. Baerga fouled off a couple of high fastballs. And again, this guy throwing in the 90s, a low fastball. As you see the free ride here to Bell, but a low fastball, he rips it for a double.
So they'll set up the double play and face Murray. And the chant of Eddie, Eddie, as the third ball is almost thrown a bit too far outside. And Lopez had to stab it. More than just a bit outside.
Yes, sir.
Here.
Yep, you bet. Talk about, the intentional walk. Why don't they just tell the guy to go to first base? It's because of situations like that. I've seen it happen a couple of times where a pitcher gags on a fastball, or I should say a pitch that he's trying to walk somebody intentionally on. And a lot of guys don't like to throw a pitch up there that's a changeup. They want to throw the ball hard because they don't want to pull back on it. As you see Lopez make a backhanded stab on that offering by Pena. I know, Joe, you've seen it at times when that pitcher throws a ball in the dirt trying to, throw off the outside corner and give you a free ride and make a bad pitch.
Eddie Murray has had a bad night, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Didn't hit the ball hard the other 2 times he was retired. And in case you're wondering, not that it's really an option, his last sacrifice was just 16 years ago in 1979.
I guarantee you he's sitting fastball here and trying to go.
He lines it into center. Here comes the pinch runner, Espinosa. Grissom fires to the plate. The Indians are back in the World Series.